If you want to see who the media is going to big up and kick down on, look at who they are puffing up. It will be someone who operates in the interests of the people that own the media or the people that run the media.
Britain Trump. They call him Britain Trump.
Boris Johnson, he just went back to the Daily Telegraph as a columnist. I've been talking to him all weekend about this speech.
If you look at the people that are vilified, that are attacked, that are demonised, it's because they're standing up for the interests of the overwhelming majority against the interests of a narrow clique of very rich and very powerful people who overall run much of our society and much of our economy. And it makes sense. They've got so much at stake. We have a world to win, they have a world to lose. I was Jeremy's spokesperson when he decided he wasn't going to go to the Queen's banquet for Donald Trump, and of course he took a lot of flack. They were saying this was like student politics, that was going to alienate working class voters. To borrow a phrase from Boris Johnson's people, who have been very effective at dealing with the media, it was bubble shit. It was stuff that people really care about in SW1, and actually they don't care about rules and protocols in the rest of the country. But people do care about the moral position. Taking a clear moral position, saying what is right and what is wrong, is really what we look from our leaders.
President Trump has torn up international agreements on refugees. He's threatened to dump international agreements on climate change. He's praised the use of torture. He's incited hatred against Muslims. He's directly attacked women's rights. Just what more does President Trump have to do before the Prime Minister will listen to the 1.8 million people who've already called for his state visit invitation to be withdrawn?
I think everything that Jeremy pretty much said about Trump over the last 4 years will quite comfortably stand the test of time.
So I say to our visitors that have arrived, think on, please, about a world that defeats racism, defeats misogyny, defeats the religious hatreds that are being fueled by the far right in politics, in Britain, in Europe and the United States.
For the overwhelming majority of Corbyn's leadership, he didn't get a fair shake from the media. Now that's not me trying to make excuses, it's a basic fact. Based in power, billionaires own most of the printed press media in the UK. What goes on the front page of The Sun or The Telegraph, regardless of whether it is actually news, whether it has any truth to it, has huge pressure then on the broadcasters to cover it. The broadcasters are basically just trying to balance and sit in the middle. But if all the pressure is really coming from one side, your middle shifts and shifts and shifts. So that's the context in which Jeremy Corbyn was trying to put forward his ideas. So no wonder how they were presented to the world was often really not based in reality. The 2019 manifesto stands the test of time. You can see that now. We've got this terrible pandemic and now we're going to have this terrible social and economic fallout. Basically, if you just go through the manifesto page after page after page, are policies that would be so relevant to people now. You've got scrapping and replacing universal credit, a Green New Deal to create full employment, super fast broadband for everyone, which we need absolutely now. Also vital for this year, when a key fault line is going to be who pays for the pandemic. Is it the many or is it the few? In 2020, we've relied unbelievably on the caring work of public sector workers. Nurses, doctors, teachers, carers, they have kept us safe and kept the country going in the face of a terrible pandemic and an atrocious cronyistic government response. And if we were adopting the policies from the Labour manifesto, they would be able to have collective sectoral bargaining. They would be able to get the pay and conditions that they deserve and that the public want to give them. You know, it's not like the public want nurses to go to food banks. It's not like the public is benefiting from having a shortfall of more than 40,000 nurses, which we're feeling now in this pandemic. The problem in our country is actually that much of our media isn't very free at all. It's overly controlled by a handful of billionaires and their interests, and it's actually going to get a whole load worse soon. We're about to see two big new entrants into the broadcast market. GB News, an Andrew Neil venture, and News UK, it's a Rupert Murdoch venture. They're both going to try to shift the news in a much more Fox News, right-wing infotainment direction.
They are coming for us. To them, we are the infidels.
29-year-old socialist from New York who is both revered and feared inside her own party. Now, a few weeks ago, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez called for an end to all fossil fuels.
My resolution? airstrikes.
Free healthcare, free childcare, free vacations, free paid leave, free.
It's us against them.
Tonight, they're continuing to plot their far-left takeover.
We need to kill them. Keep bombing them, bomb them again and again. You need to be afraid because they are coming for you.
And what President Trump is calling for is security and accountability. It is that simple.
Fox has treated me very nice wherever Fox is. Thank you.
And what is the impact of that going to be? The BBC itself will then begin to move in that direction. And it's not just going to do that naturally, although it will do that naturally as it responds to where the status quo is, but it will do that because of government influence. The BBC, you think, is this fantastic independent organisation, and of course it's brilliant that we have public sector broadcasting and it produces a huge amount of very good things. But the government gets to appoint the chairperson of the BBC. Has just appointed someone that used to be Rishi Sunak's boss, who donated to the Conservative Party, who's a banker. I wonder whose interests he'll operate in whose interest he will see news values and programming. What we will see is still an emerging ratchet towards the right. We need to see reform and regulation of much more of the media to free journalists up to do the work that they should do and that a huge number of them want to do. Finding out more about the world and presenting it back to viewers, readers and listeners without the bias and the agendas being set by the already very powerful, the already very rich, is bad for democracy. It's only good for the billionaires and some of the millionaires that work for the billionaires. What can we do about it? Don't hate the media, be the media. That means we build up our own media. We build up left, progressive, fact-based, truth-seeking, power-challenging media. A real alternative that is based in social justice, confronting power and seeking truth. No one is going to change the world for the better for us. It's down to us. So we need to build our own media. So please support Double Down News, click on the Patreon, donate what you can, and let's help build our movement and let's help build the voice of our movement through building progressive media.